The violence can be sudden and it can be brutal. This, the ugly, violent side of Italian football. Running street battles involving groups of ultras. The ultras are the most dedicated club fans, but some of them are linked to crime and a growing tide of violence. We're in Rome and intimidation fills the air. It's mixed with an appetite for a fight. These ultras groups all have a leader, and here is one of the most feared. Marco's the head of the Inter Milan Curva Nord Ultras, a hero for his devoted followers. He tells me the ultras are in a good way, but today he doubts they'll clash with their rivals.
The weather is not helping the fighting.
Nobody wants to fight.
Nobody. But normally it's not really quiet. Inter Roma is always to be careful. You watch around what happens around yourself. But with this weather, you know, too much telecamera, too much camera, too much police. In Italy, it's really organized. Everything is really organized. It's a really important movement. We cannot stop it.
And he's right, the ultras are organised, but so are the police. The following night, there's another big game, this time in Milan. Police know a fight's brewing. To prevent it, they must separate the two sets of ultras. If they meet, there will be violence. So football's problems with hooliganism, racism, intimidation, menace were just dormant. And now they're back and they're getting worse. The question is whether this sport can now sever its ties with all those demons. Many of the Milan ultras train for combat here, a fight club in the suburbs. It's Marco's home turf.
Yeah, it's like a religion. It's difficult to explain to people who is not part of this.
The battle lines are clear. It's about territory.
So this is our city, we don't like you, and we don't want to see you. If you come, maybe we can have problem.
For him, the ultras are tied by loyalty to the team, to the city, and most of all, to each other.
We lost some brother on the road. One of us was lost the life in San Siro out of the stadium during a fighting between us and Napoli. And they are really ultras. We hate them, but we have to say that they are ready for doing that kind of life.
There are no rules, except one. You can use fists, rocks, knives, but not guns. Watching us is Andrea. Marco calls him his war minister, another ultra with a long history of violence. Several fights too many, now he's paying the price.
We had an argument, then a fight, and I broke his leg. Because of this, I got another 10 years banning order, you know. At the moment, I can't even enter in the city of Milan. I've been banned from the entire territory of Milan. So that means I'm forced to stay here, outside the city.
Back in Rome, we meet Donny, an AS Roma ultra. He loves fighting other fans.
Ciao ciao. È come andare in guerra, no? È il top.
It's like going to war, it's the best. I've always been on the front line because I like fighting. The adrenaline rushes up. There's no point in hiding it.
È inutile che tutti quanti nascondiamo.
Donny's picked up 12 years of banning orders, but he remains a loyal ultra. He's proud of the violence, but what about racism?
Non mi piace giudicare.
I don't like to judge. As for racism, insults can happen when there's a large group, but it's not racism. It's just a moment of anger.
È un momento di rabbia, da come la penso io poi.
But those moments of anger do look a lot like racism, a chronic problem in these stadiums. Recently, the AC Milan goalkeeper, Mike Maignan, was the victim of vile racist chants. There were lifetime bans for those responsible. Footballer Joseph Manala spent a decade playing in Italy. He remembers one game that was stopped because of racist abuse hurled from the stands.
Diciamo, I tifosi, gli avversari se la sono presi con me. Avevo fatto un gol.
The fans took it out on me. I had scored a goal, we had beaten the other team, and so they threw objects at me. To get me out of the stadium, I remember that the police had to come and pick us up, to escort us, to take us away.
Per fare la scorta, per portarci via.
Mario was an ultra for more than 20 years at a major club. He admits being involved in both violence and racism. Mario, have you ever used racist abuse to try to upset an opponent?
Yes, it happened. It happened.
And how do you feel about that?
Ma lì per lì non c'è stato, insomma.
At that moment, I thought it was just normal behavior. It was the sort of thing that was standard, a part of the normal way that things happened in the stadium in that period. If I did those things, it was because I believed in them. It was the type of life I had chosen for myself, so repentance is not part of me. I would do exactly the same things again, the things I did during that time.
Esattamente quasi le stesse cose che ho fatto in quel periodo, sì.
Here's the other side of the battle, the Rome control room where the police manage their response to football violence. And this is how the police see ultras, even those who think they're keeping a low profile. How dangerous are some of the people that we are seeing here?
Il numero è importante.
We are talking about 400, 500, even 600 fans who are packed together. And these ultras are the ones who come here determined to commit violence. So yes, they're really very dangerous.
Offensiva elevatissima. Questo.
And is it getting worse?
In questo devo dire abbiamo notato che dall'anno scorso.
Yes, since last year there has been a resurgence in the violent approach that we see among ultras fans.
Da parte delle tifoserie ultras.
The tendrils spread out. Ultras groups are linked to far-right extremist movements across Europe. It is a volatile cocktail. Groups built on football, loyalty and violence with seams of racism and crime. We once thought hooliganism would fade away, and we were wrong. Perhaps it's ingrained into football, because from what we've seen, there's no sign the ultras are running out of steam. Adam Parsons, Sky News, Italy.